Thank you for watching another episode of Dvar Malchus from the talks of Shabbos, Parsha Shemini, blessing the new month of Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar 5751. Good Erev Shabbos. We are also blessing the month of Iyar. It is Shabbos Mubarak this Shabbos. We are on page 193. This Shabbos we finished the 8th time of the reading of Parsha Shemini this year. As we emphasized many times in the past week, that this year we read the Parshas of Shemini. And it was on the 8th day 8 times, which has its advantages known, saying a year in which we read the Parsha Shemini 8 times, it will be a fat year packed with physicality and spirituality, which this correlates with the general innovation of this year regarding which the Jewish people have entitled and called "It will be the year in which I show them wonders," acronym of Hey Tav Shin Nun Aleph, a year of distinguished and being fat and packed with miracles and wonders of Hashem, which happen to the eyes of all, also as a preparation for the miracles and wonders of the true and complete redemption, which is coming literally immediately, just as in the days that you left Egypt, the land of Egypt. I will show them wonders, as we spoke and emphasized many times during this year, and especially in the month of Nisan, an idiom of Nes, miracle, and Nes, Nisim, miracles of miracles. The first Shabbos after Pesach, when we be saying and studying Pirkei Avos this year on Shabbos between Pesach and Shavuos, beginning with Moshe received the Torah from Sinai, the last Shabbos of the month of Nisan this year, and year I shall show them wonders. Furthermore, the end of the month of Nisan, which everything follows the end from this, the Shabbos of Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar, Machar Chodesh, tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, the completion of the second complete week of the counting of the Omer, 14 days, which is 2 weeks of the Omer, as a unique quality of the calendar layout this year, that its counting of the Omer begins this day following Shabbos. In a literal sense, it's the first day of Pesach with Shabbos, which this adds an advantage to all aspects, completeness of the counting of the Omer, as stated in the Midrash. 7 complete weeks they shall be when they complete, when Pesach occurs on Shabbos, and we've been counting on Motzi Shabbos, which then the weeks are complete since they begin on the first of the week and they finish on Shabbos. And being in the calendar layout this year, all these matters are all together this Shabbos reading Shemini. For the 8th time, tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, the completion of the second week of the counting of the Omer, and the beginning of the resuscitation of the study of Pirkei Avos. We must say, being that everything by divine providence that have connection to each other, moreover, and mainly a connection to the phenomenon of I will show them wonders, as will be explained. And the specialty of Shemini 3 times needs explanation. Shemini itself is also an idiom of Shuman, fat, as known in the explanation on this day of Sheminat Eretz, and being a parsha in the Torah, which is drawn an introduction and empowerment for the entire year, is understood that even the reading of the Parshas of Shemini, even one time rich, is drawn to the entire year. The question arises that Shemini itself and concept of Shuman, which essential addition is added to the number of times it is read, that we read the same Parsha, the same thing, Shemini 8 times specifically, then we say that it will be Shemini, a rich year, which reading Shemini 8 times does not indeed add emphasis on the phenomenon of Shemoneh. However, for the wording of the saying, it seems that a year that Shemoneh, we read Shemini 8 times, it has an innovation over the other years, not only an emphasis that is special, that specifically this year will be Shemena. As we may say, the explanation of this, the special loftiness of this, and will be the 4th day, the 8th day of the inauguration of the Mishkan. It is that in this day began the dwelling of the divine presence in the Mishkan. Today Hashem will appear to you to dwell his presence in the work of your hands, to the extent that the whole nation saw and offered praise and fell on their face. And the power for this came also through the fact that this was on the 8th day. The matter of the world, also the completeness of the world, is the framework of the number 7. The world was created in 7 days, 6 days of creation, and Shabbos, which brought the rest into the world. The completeness of creation, the 7-day cycle, which is the framework of time of the world, and the state of Shabbos in general, and the 7 days of building, the 7 attributes, since the number 7 denotes the godly light, which is vested in the creation. 8 denotes the godly light, which is higher than investment in the world, which guards the cycle, which transcends the Seder HaShabbos, which therefore on the 8th day the divine presence dwelling in the Mishkan. Although also before this there were many different services in the 7 days of inauguration, yet it was still connected to the revelation of godliness, which is on the similar level to that of creation. It did not have the aspect of accomplishment. I will dwell among you, the revelation of the divine presence in the Mishkan, specifically on the 8th day, which this number is unique to Hashem, accomplished the revelation of the Mishkan of godliness and transcend the creation. Today Hashem will appear to you to dwell His presence in the work of your hands. This is the connection of Shemini to Sheminah. Shemini is the name of Sheminah, fat, since the godly revelation is in a matter of Sheminah, fat, Shaman, fat. More than normal correlation from the confines of the world comes specifically from Shemini. That transcends Seder Hashalos. The ultimate purpose is that also the light is higher than Hashalos. Shemini should not remain separate from the world, rather it should be drawn in a revealed way into the world as such that the world, as it is confined, shall internalize the revelation, meaning that there should be the union of both matters, the revelation of the transcend confines, which this has the advantage that it is higher than the limitations of the world. In the confines, which have the advantage that the reciprocal for receiving and internalizing the revelation, there is a union of beyond limits and limitations. Moreover, the order of the service of this is from below to above, and from the limitation of the world we reach also to receive the light that is above the limits of world, which this is the content of the innovation of the revelation of godliness in the Mishkan of the base of Mikdash, and the height of perfection as will be in the third base of Mikdash, as was accomplished on the 8th day. And you shall make a Mishkan for me, and I will dwell in your midst, the dwelling and revelation of the divine presence that is above the confines of the world for me, and the physical Mishkan and the work of your hands, and from the Mishkan draw forth to the entire world, for its lights go out to the entire world, as was clearly stated in the ark, which is the main object of the Mishkan, that the place of the ark is not only in the measurement, although the ark, in which the layout, the two tablets of the covenant, which includes the entire Torah, which the Torah and Hashem are all one, is above confines. It is not in the measurement, yet the place of the ark had specific measurements, 2.5 cubits in length, and this place was not in the measurement, together with the advantage of unlimited, also the advantage of limited that can be received in the framework of below. And similar is expressed the service of the Jew in general. There are two types: an order of service, a minimal service, limited and confined. In the confines of the holiness and the service that is above limits, and each one has something the other does not. Service with limits is on a level that a person has relation to them. It shall be a vessel to receive godliness in the innermost of his vessel, to receive godliness in the innermost of his existence, and the service that is above confines and limits with all your might as a vessel to receive godliness that is in limitation of the man, the true might, and the completeness of the union of both aspects in the service of man. Also his service that is above limits has the virtue that is drawn a vessel into the eternalized way, and also his service within limits has the virtue of with all your might. Based on this, we will understand the innovation of Shemini Shemona, reading Shemini 8 times, which then it is Sheminah. The difference between Shemini and Shemoneh is Shemini is a number which follows the previous numbers, which indeed comes after the 7 before it. However, it is a separate 8th entity which is removed relatively from 7 that were before it. Shemini is not completely a matter for itself, rather it has a connection and comes in continuation to 7. Moreover, 8th is possible only when there were the first 7 days. However, after the aspect day of 8th is revealed, it also has a separate entity which is removed from the 7th, as this is in our case, and it was on the 8th day, the 8th of inauguration, which comes after the 7th day of inauguration. However, it is on a separate 8th day, which is separate and higher than the previous day. The 8th day is the day where there was the most significant innovation, the dwelling of the divine presence in the Mishkan. Shemona 8th is a number that is comprised of the numerical. It includes all 8 together. Also, the 7 that were before it. 8 means that we have all 8 together. Moreover, this day elevates all of them up to the level of the 8. The matters also of the 7 are part of the 8. And based on this, we may say that Shemini and Shemoneh together also hint to the power of unite these two above mentioned aspects in the revelation of godliness in the Mishkan, limited and limited, in order for there to be the union of limited and limited world, and above the world there has to be the unlimited itself, the 8th level, both aspects. And this is the difference between Shemini and Shemoneh. Shemoni is mainly the aspect of unlimited, and Shemoneh is how the unlimited includes it in the virtue of limit 7. Shemini denotes mainly the revelation that is above Hishtadlos, guardian of the cycle, and Shemoneh emphasizes the revelation of above Hishtadlos, which includes in it and is drawing into the 7 days of building, the Seder Shalos in every single detail, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, as they are all elevated become 8. As this is the innovation of the year that Shemini, that Shemini is also in a manner of Shemoneh, as we read Shemini 8 time when we read Shemini only one time or even three times or the like. It denotes mainly the revelation of 8 that is above the world, removed from 7. However, when it is read 8 times, one time, a second time, a third time, etc., until 8 times on this Shabbat, which 8 includes all of them, also the 7, then there's a manifestation of Shemini, also every one of them, and in all 7 details, levels of the creation end, then the height of completeness in the 8th, which specifically then we read also the entire Parsha as such that we have the completeness of Shemini 8 times, the virtue of Shemini together with the virtue of Shemoneh, which then includes all the 7. And therefore, through this, it is Shemoneh, a fat year, true completeness of Shuma, richness, and specifically when one has the union of Shemini and Shemini in the manner of Shemoneh, unlimited and limited, which this shows that it is coming from the essence which is above limited and unlimited, which this is the phenomena of fat and oil and essence of all things, which permeates all details and details of details, and it is known that the fat saturates the entire thing. Another matter in this, the way that we reach the revelation of Shemini, that is above the limits of the world, is specifically through the service from below to above in the limits of the world in the 7 levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, until we reach 8, as this is simply, the 8 comes specifically through there being first 7. And the reason for this, because specifically through the service within the confines, we become a vessel to receive the higher revelations, including the revelation of 8 and 8. 8 and 8, which from this is understood that the service within limits is connected in its source to the exceedingly high level, higher than the source of the unlimited, and similar to how this is in the place of ark, is not in the measurement. Not in the measurement came specifically through the ark had a measurement. Had the ark not been in the prescribed measurement, which is clearly written in the Torah, the holiness of the ark would have not been complete, which is when it was as Hashem commanded Moshe. As the example of this in the fulfillment of the mitzvahs and the mitzvah of Maser, that he separates 1/10 from what remains. The law regarding Maser is we must not tithe based on estimate, rather on by measure, weight or number, not as regarding Truma, which a truma is not separated by measure and not by weight or number, rather one estimate, and separates it with one's mind. Furthermore, regarding maser of animals, that it is a positive commandment to separate 1 of 10. Part of the actual mitzvah is counting. You shall count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th that comes out, he says this is maser. As the verse says, the 10th should be holiness for Hashem. In other words, the revelation of the 10th shall be holiness, kadosh, holiness in a word on its own, which is removed incomparably higher on its own in all matters, is reached specifically through the counting and the service of man, as we count 1, 2, 3, 4 through 9. And when we say that this is also regarding, and it was on the 8th day that the revelation of the 8th comes after 7 days of inauguration, and this is even more revealed and emphasized this year when Shemoneh, as we read Shemoni 8 times again and again until we count 8 times, when we have an actuality and in revealed manner Shemoneh. As such, that we have virtues of reading Parsha Shemini in all 8 times in the detail. First time, the virtue of opening, beginning the phenomenon of reading, and it was on the 8th day this year. The second time, the advantage of double for salvation. The third time, and the advantage of Hazak, which is emphasized in this general year, and this is spoken earlier. The 4th time corresponding to the 4 feet of the throne of above and the table of the shofar, and the 4 feet wheels of the chariot, which through this there is a strong endurance of the table. The 5th time corresponding to the level of the 5th is for Paro, which all lights are revealed, and is Paro burst forth for him. The 6th time, in addition to the double Hazak. 3, also the completeness of the creation that was created in 6 days. The 7th time, the virtue and completeness of rest, which is added to the completeness of the world on the 7th day, as such that there is the completeness of the 7 days of creation. The framework of Seder Hashtadlus as until the completeness of the 8th time, which is above Seder Hashtadlus, as explained above in length, and to add the 8th in general, including also 9th and 10th, and therefore from 8th we reach also afterward, and also 9th. 3 times is Hazak, which 9 becomes near preparation, immediate, with no interval. To the 10th will be holiness, where the previous levels 1 through 8, although the 10th is made up of them, there is nevertheless an internal between them, including the completeness, the redemption, which is connected to 10th. The power to draw the divine presence below on the 8th day came specifically through Moshe Rabbeinu. Through his prayer and pleasantness of Hashem, our God, shall be upon us. May it be the will that the divine presence rest in both the work of your hands for Moshe, having in him both aspects of beyond limits and limits, is intermediary that connects between Hashem and you, who gives the power to draw godliness and transcends the world in the world, as was in the Mishkan. They're enjoying the Dvar Malchus. As emphasized in the beginning of Perkei Avos, which we begin reading in Shabbos, Parsha Shemini, Moshe received the Torah from Sinai and gave it. Moshe is the receiver of the Torah from Hashem himself, and he gave it. And the Mishnah continues and lists the order of the passing down and receiving the Torah from generation to generation. And through him the Torah reaches every Jew and the Jewish people as a whole. Moshe commanded us Torah, the inheritance, the congregation of Yaakov, which through Torah that Moshe received from Sinai, the wisdom and will of Hashem and Torah of Hashem are one. And the ark of the covenant of Hashem and the dwelling of the presence of that godliness transcending the world in the Mishkan is accomplished. And through Torah, a Jew has the ability to draw godliness in the world, including also godliness that transcends the creation. The power that Moshe has, this comes from the fact that Moshe received the Torah from Sinai, as known in the New Lands. Why is it said from Sinai and not from Hashem, or the like, which Sinai is the humble of all mountains? And Moshe received the Torah from Sinai. He took a lesson from Sinai in the fact that he was completely self-nullified, humble of all the mountains. Wherever there was a matter of glory, even of holiness, he was humble regarding it. Very humble from all the people of the face of the earth, and being completely submitted to Hashem, it had the power to receive the Torah from Sinai, a true recipient who become the intermediate that connects to pass down the Torah of Hashem to the Jewish people. And more in detail, we may say that this phenomenon, the union of the unlimited and limited, is hinted to also in the name of Moshe, the first word of the Mishnah and the whole tractate. Moshe received the Torah. Moshe is the acronym of Moshe, Shemaiah, Hillel, corresponding to three paths: the right path, kindness; the left path, severity; the middle path is splendor. Shammai and Hillel correspond to the two paths to the right and the left is the Torah. For his right arm, a fiery law was given to us, which therefore the school of Shammai are stringent and the school of Hillel are lenient. These prohibit and these permit, as they say is invalid and these say is acceptable. As known that Moshe corresponds to the middle path, which includes and unites both paths. The source of unlimited, limited above all kindness and severity, and within this itself, kindness and severity in the Torah, from this right arm of fairy laws to give us from kindness to draw forth the flow that is above limits, from the severity and concealment the contracted flow befitted the limits and reception of the recipient and Moshe the middle path, which is the height of submission, including the unites both paths. Therefore the order is that in Moshe first comes the Mem, acronym of Moshe the middle path, and after it Shin He, acronym of Shammai and Hillel, left and right. And the power for this comes from Moshe having both aspects, as alluded to in his name. Moshe name so formed the water Mishishuhu. I hope I pronounced that close. I took him out, together with the fact that Moshe had a virtue of revelation kindness. I took him out, which he is named Moshe, mainly because of this, and he did his service openly on dry land, as he had in him the virtue of from the water Mishishishu. I took him out, the revelation of the hidden aspects that are in the water, the revelation of the power of the concealment and the power of the limit of Hashem, which is embodied in severity, including the level of he places his secret darkness, the principle hidden above, from which it comes the concealment of the world, as is known that the water of the sea, which covers over and hides that which is found inside the sea, alludes to the power of the concealment, contraction of Hashem, from which comes the concealment of the nature of the world, which hides godliness. Teva, nature, an idiom of Tibu, drowned, hidden and concealed in the sea of reeds. Moreover, the source of Moshe, also as he is revealed in the world, as is from the water, similar to what was spoken about, that specifically through the limitation, whose source is higher than the source of unlimited, we reach the level of receiving and revelation of the unlimited. And being that Moshe, the middle path, had the complete submission, similar to the humble of all the mountains, he reveals the virtue of both paths to the extent that he includes both of them and unites them, unlimited Shammai and limited Shemina, unlimited Shemini and limited Shmona. Both of them together, which this gives the power to draw the dwelling of the divine presence that is above the world, below in the world, phenomena of Shemini, Shemona, Shemonea, as the aspect of Moshe which influences his service is actuality for every Jew. Fear of Hashem is something small, as was when the Mishkan was erected, that Moshe's prayer accomplished, that the divine presence shall rest in the work of your hands, and the whole nation saw that they offered praise, and they fell on their face, the height of submission also, Penimim, their faces, the Penimius, innermost facet of the person, and from that generational it is drawn. All generations is known that every generation, and especially the generation that left Egypt, includes the generations before it and after, and simply that from Moshe power is drawn to every Jew from the state of Moshe received the Torah from Sinai as the recipient, that the Torah he should unite with an amazing unit with Torah and the giver of the Torah, the Jewish people, and the Torah and Hashem are one to the extent of, and your eyes shall behold your master, which is a foretaste of this happening at the giving of the Torah. And although it will be revealed the virtue of limited, and both together. Based on this, we will understand the connection of the concluding of the 2 weeks of the Omer, finishing the service, and the 2 paths of kindness and severity. In the first week, kindness with kindness until kinship with kindness, and in the second week, kindship with severity until kingship with severity, namely that we have the completeness of both aspects, kindness and severity, which into these 2 aspects that are the final merit, and the prosecutors in general, all matters are divided, being in Torah from his right hand, there is a fury. These prohibit and these permit. And regarding Hillel and Shammai, from the descent to the world, these aspects, and it is a source above the aspect of beyond bounds and the aspect of concealment of limits as explained above. And more specifically, the conclusion of the 2 weeks of the Omer, kindness and severity with kingship and severity, in addition to the simple meaning of this, that kingship within severity is detail of severity, as it also contains the hint that from severity the phenomenon of kingship is revealed. The revelation of Hashem will rule forever and ever, and Hashem will be king over the entire world, and the kingship will be for Hashem in the true and complete redemption. What more, the revelation of the kingship of Hashem in the matter of Gevurah, kingship with severity, a serve of vitality similar to the phenomenon of he resurrects the dead, which comes from the aspect of you are mighty in the second bracha of the Amidah, corresponding to Gevurah severity, meaning that in this Shabbos, the conclusion of Shemini, Shemona, Shemonea is revealed the virtue it is in severity of holiness, namely the virtue of the aspect of concealment and limits, indeed the aspect of kinship, redemption that is in severity, until this is revealed even in severity in the world, simple sense of the concealment of the world in general and of exile in particular, as it comes from the level of he places his secrets in darkness, including that it will be revealed the kingship redemption found in severity, the revelation of the keys of the redemption which is in the heart and not revealed within the mouth, being completely removed from the revolution, as known that through putting the Aleph in Aluf Shalom, master of the universe, and exile Gola, through our work and service, the entire time of exile, which redemption is dependent upon, exile itself becomes redemption. Moreover, being that this comes through the concealment of the exile, the revelation of the true and complete redemption is a matter of the surge of vitality and redemption with no exile after. Hashem will rule forever and ever. Based on this, we may explain the connection of this Shabbos with tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, which is in the calendar year layout of Shemini, Shemona, Shemonea. Based on this, which is the calendar layout. And Shabbos is the conclusion of kingship, which the severity is the continuation of the Sephirah, being the day following Shabbos, and the literal meaning, completeness within completeness. Similar to Shemona, this Shabbos is always Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar. The concept of tomorrow's Rosh Chodesh is understood from the content of Haftorah. The Yahona son said to him, tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, and you will be remembered, for you will be missing from your place. An idiom of remember, an idiom of missing. It means that because you will be missing from your place, that your seat, David's, will be empty. You will be remembered. My father, King Saul, which remembered you and asked, where are you? Which this is the connection to tomorrow's Rosh Chodesh and Erev Rosh Chodesh. There is a concealment of the moon to the extent that the moment before the birth of the new moon, there is not even a drop of the moon left. You will be missing from your place, the place of David, Malchus, the source of the moon, and through this occurs afterward tomorrow Rosh Chodesh, the birth of the moon anew, and you will be remembered specifically through the missing of your place in heaven and the soul descent below in a body refined, and the concealment of severity is there, and you will remember the revelation of the aspect of kingship of the house of David, including the completeness of this is King Mashiach, a descendant of David, and the true and complete redemption, which redemption is connected to the phenomena of you will be remembered, as Hashem said to Moshe in Egypt, I have remembered you, which was a sign that they have passed to them from Yaakov and Yosef, and the terminology that will redeem. Yaakov said, Hashem will remember you. Yosef said to them, Hashem will remember you. And once you tell them these words, they will listen. And just as in the day you left Egypt, I will show them wonders in a true and complete redemption, based on what is said above. He understood the connection of all aspects of Shemini, Shemone, Shemonea, in the beginning of Perkei Avos, the end of the 2 weeks of the Omer, and tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, with the true and complete redemption, which is sure to come immediately, especially presently in the year Hey Te Shanas and Reinu Nefalos. It will be the year in which I will show them wonders, and within itself at the end of the month of Nisan, going immediately into the month of Iyar. Although we found ourselves in the concealment of exile, on the contrary, specifically through your place is empty. A Jew who has an aspect of David in him is not found in his true place at the table of his father in the Holy Land, in Yerushalayim, at the holy city, at the base of Mikdash. Yet specifically through this, you will be remembered that Hashem is completely dedicated his entire attention to remembering the Jewish people. I will surely remember them and redeems the true and complete redemption through Mashiach, specifically through the concealment of the moon. And the Jewish people are similar to the moon and count by it. It is by the moon you were born again and destined to be renewed like it. More and mainly through our deeds and service throughout the entire time of exile, we bring redemption through. Although we found in concealment of exile with the confines of this entails, which comes from the aspects of severity, specifically in the lies of the power to bring redemption, kingship within severity, as explained at length. Similar to whoever fulfills the Torah in its state of poverty, at the end will fulfill its state of wealth. And similar through the service of the poverty of exile, poverty is in knowledge. We receive the true wealth in knowledge and wealth in a simple sense, in the true and complete redemption. And most certainly after we have already went through where Yotzi sufficed to the constraints of poverty in the previous generations, and now we have the freedom and can breathe easy from all the non-Jewish governments, and we can learn Torah and fulfill mitzvahs along with peace of soul and body. In addition, there has been added in recent generations also the phenomenon of wealth in Torah through the publishing and spreading numerous Torah books, which part of them were hidden away till now. And for this reason, the virtue of the service of the time of exile, the redemption, there will also be virtues, both of the virtue of the redemption as well as the virtue of exile. The advantage of the service of pressuring yourself to do it is kafai, and with constraints in the state of poverty, and similar to the above spoken regarding the completeness of Shemini, Shemona, Shemonea, the union of the virtue of beyond bounds and the virtue of the revelation and the constraints and concealment and similarities, there will be then that I will show them wonders, both of nature as well as of miracles, as we shall speak further. From this we have also the instruction regarding the service of the Jew and the timely manner to bring the true and complete redemption. A Jew can claim, being that it is limited, including due to the time of the nature of the world, and that a significant amount of the days he occupies in accordance with the Torah and the mundane matters, eating, drinking, and sleeping, and especially in the time of exile, when there will be several constraints and obstacles regarding service of Hashem in complete way, he seemingly does not even have the ability to do minute service, and most certainly not the power to bring true and complete redemption. We tell him that the coming of Mashiach is dependent on our deeds and the service through the time of exile specifically, and being that the redemption did not come yet, that it is self-proof that it's dependent on our deeds and service of the generation. On the contrary, specifically through the service and the confines and hideousness which come from severity, specifically that this in lies amazing power which have the ability to bring the redemption, as the ruling of the Rambam, that through one mitzvah a Jew has the ability to tip the scale for himself and for the whole world to the side of the merit and cause them all salvation. And being that I was created to serve my Creator, every Jew, man, woman, and children, I ask of them only according to their ability, and not ask of them, I ask according to their ability. Rather, Hashem asks and helps in the service, and Hashem helps him. It is understood that every Jew has the power to do in our deeds and our service to his Creator, and doing this in completeness, not only as a helper for another rather that he himself does the service in accordance with his capacity, with his completeness, until he becomes a partner with Hashem in service, which a true partner does not merit help or the like. Rather, he is a partner in the details and matters and in the responsibility of the matter, which this is in addition to the fact that a Jew, being a portion of Hashem above, literally the portion of Hashem is in his nation, he has the greatest power to accomplish the greatest things, to the extent that he has commanded, "You shall be holy, for I am holy." And as the known explanation of what stated that you can be like me, a statement not only can be like me, greater power due to the year in general, the year I will show them wonders, being that I will show them. Hashem himself shows wonders. Everything is revealed, both the wonders and the simple says in miraculous content, open and wondrous miracles, as well as the wonders that are hidden in the natural conduct, including the power of the maker and the made, as Hashem creates every creation from nothing to something every single moment anew, a wondrous manner, since he alone has the ability to create something from nothing, including also the wonders which are found in the concealment of the world in exile, including he places his secret darkness, and specifically through this comes you will be remembered. A foretaste of these miracles and wonders, as we already began to see now in the year I will show them wonders, although we are still in exile, especially in the month of Adar, and even more in the month of Nisan, and the idiom of Nes, miracles, and Nisim, miracles of miracles, and the continuation of this month of Iyar, with the emphasis standing now at the end of the month of Nisan, which follows the month of Adar, and very closely Iyar. The month of Adar in general connects to the miracles of Purim, a miracle vested in nature. In the month of Adar, one's mazel is healthy, strong, which health is blessed regarding nature. And the month of Nisan is connected to open miracles above nature. And from this we can come to the month of Iyar, acronym for Yaakov, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and Rachel, the 4 feet wheels. Yitzhak, Yaakov, and Rachel. Of Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and Rachel, the 4 wheels of the chariot, revelation of godliness that is above the world, the acronym of the Ani Hashem Rafech, I am Hashem your healer. And this is the blessing that is drawn in the nature of the world, Rafech, however, in a manner that is above limits, coming from Ani Hashem, I am Hashem. Then in the word of exile, there will be possibility for there to be lack. Your place will be empty, which needs to refer a healing, transpires, I, Hashem, am your healer. As such, the first place I will not place its sickness upon you. The union of both advantage, wonders in the concealment of nature and miracles, and especially that the Shabbos is also the separate of kingship within severity, and the revelation of the King Mashiach from the severity of exile of the Shabbos, and Shabbos, the Parsha Shemini, upon which transpires the completeness of Shemini, Shemona, Shemonea, which is connected especially to Moshiach, the harp of the days of Mashiach. The third base of Mikdash is of 8 strings, since there will be the revelation of godliness that has transcended the world. The redemption from this confines the world, and together with this it is drawn down into the world. Shemoni, Shemone, Shemini, Shemone, including that it brings immediately the aspects of both. The 10th shall be holiness, the completeness of 10 and true complete redemption on the 10 strings, the harp of 10 strings, which is higher than the harp of the 8 strings. And on the 2nd of Iyar, the birthday of the Rebbe Marash, as it is known the instruction, his empowerment from the start, you will go over, and from this the 6th generation, the Baal Shem Tov, a double Chazak, following the 7th generation, the 8th generation, till our generation, the 9th, 3 times 3 Chazak, which becomes the close preparation with no interruption at all. To the 10th shall be holiness and the true complete redemption, and all of each person, and in all of each person receives even more strength from the exertion of Moshe. In our generation, my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe leader of our generation, and especially that we read today in his shul, which is a trifold house of good deeds, Torah, and mainly prayer, as is all shuls outside Eretz Yisrael, the 8th time Parsha Shemini, as such that it becomes Shemini, Shemona, Shemonea, and from this house of prayer, the power is drawn out of this house, including to the entire world, also in a far-flung corner in the physical sense and the spiritual sense in the world, until it becomes my house, a house of prayer, and will become all nations, together with who gathers to disperse of Jewish people. I will gather more to its gathering. A foretaste of this will be fulfilled in the present time, the year of Nisim, miracles, 5750, the year I will show them wonders, 5751, he will gather and disperse all of the people, that country, Russia, with no limitations, not as it was in the past. In order to leave, there was necessary to have special connection and special request, as they are coming to Eretz Yisrael, also without limitations. It would not, and not as it was previously known at all, which this is among the revelation that are above and beyond limits, which are occurring at the end of exile. And simply every Jew, man, woman, and children have the responsibility to add in service and bring Mashiach actuality. From this is understood there was no room at all to rely on others to do this, instead doing it himself, or put the work on others, rather the service of each and every male and female, everyone must himself do the service to serve my Creator for which I was created, and this is certain that he has the power, for this is, I do not demand only what they have the strength for, as I mentioned, and what is the content of the service is also in adding in Torah and mitzvahs and learning and revealed part of Torah and the hidden part of Torah and extraordinary mitzvah fulfillment, including and especially in a timely manner fulfilling the custom as the Alter Rebbe writes in the Siddur to say, study, prepares those after the mythful prayer at Shabbos is between Pesach and Shavuos and all the months of the summer. And in addition to oneself adding in this, we must also influence others to add, and especially if he, the influencer himself, was lacking in completeness of fulfilling his service. Indeed, he must add in this in a matter of double for salvation, including through influencing others through this in the general service of spreading Torah, Judaism, and the well springs outward, which especially brings the Master will come, the King Mashiach, and all this, which the strong anticipation, yearning for the redemption. I await him to come the entire day, as we say every day. Our prayers and our eyes shall behold you return to Zion with mercy, and during the weekdays has flourished the Zion of Zion of David. Your servant has spoken many times, and may it will the will of Hashem, that through all these good resolutions, the Jewish people, in whatever place that they may be in their service, and most certainly through fulfilling the resolution actually and should already accomplish its accomplishments and immediately, and bring the true and complete redemption through Mashiach. As the days you left Egypt, I will show them wonders. Moreover, immediately, literally, immediately, good Erev Shabbos and Zayga.